Yeah, you know about the sport of kings. You know about the tracks, the jockeys, the horses, and even some of the people. But what you don't know about is what goes on behind the gate.
It's as much a religion as it is a sport.
They're everything to me, and they've so much heart, they give you so much, and they ask so little in return.
There's just so much power and athleticism to the horse, and you can just put a little piece of string around its neck, and then you have control of all that power.
I actually named a horse Spectacular Sight because I couldn't believe how beautiful she was. And I just find them to be incredible athletes, incredible creatures that are both calm and powerful all at the same time.
When you see these racehorses, I mean, they're built different. They're built to run, and they're beautiful. And to see them walk, you know, getting ready to go, you know, around the track to the gate, it's pretty amazing. It reminds me of getting ready to go out and play. And they have a sense, I believe they do have a sense of, yeah, today is the day.
If men could live with the grace with which a horse runs, we'd all be kings. Unfortunately, every man is not a king, and no man can ever hope to live for just an hour with the passion, power, and heart of even the horse in last place, running his heart out in any number of races that take place around the globe.
Her mother was good to be home, and her dad is good journey, and we raised her, and we still have her mother, and we have a full sister to her also.
She's a very competitive filly that shows, we hope, a great degree of talent. We know she's got talent. How much she has, you know, time will let us know.
Mark Giardino, racehorse owner, lover of the sport, and executive producer of Behind the Gate.
Yeah, we bred her
on this farm.
On this farm, she's been
We have her mommy.
born and raised here. She's been here for 2 years, a little over 2 years, and she's in her last process of getting ready to leave her first and only home to this point to go down to the racetrack. She's been broken. They do that in a round pen, get them used to having a saddle on them and tacking them up. And
Getting used to being handled.
Getting used to be handled, and then they start to get on them. Once they get through that process, they bring them out here to the track. First at the track, they get kind of a little new to all the surroundings, and they look around and don't really gallop straight and get into it, and then they start turning the screws a little bit to them and start to get them a little bit more focused. If she galloped with other horses, she wouldn't want to let them in front of her. If she jogged with other horses, she didn't want them to do something that looked like she could do it better. She gave us the impression that she was going to be athletic and very competitive. That's the thing you never know. I mean, if a horse is going to have it, and she showed it very early that she was going to try hard.
You're on your way to Kentucky. How does that happen?
It's well, you know, it's proof that it can happen to anybody, and that's a great thing about this game. We always talk about you're only one horse away from getting back onto the big stage.
How'd this one work out for you, Doug? What's the history of this one?
This one was bought by Paul Redham, and my brother Dennis was an advisor to Paul last year in Florida at the OBS sale. Paid $35,000 for him, which is relatively inexpensive.
When did you know you had a runner?
You know, we always train good, but you never know till you run them, because so many of them will handle the mornings good, but once you add the paddock and the post parade and the gate, they come unglued. A lot of horses don't handle that stage. And so when we won first time out, the way he handled himself, we knew right away he was special.
There they go.
The history of the horse and man are the same. They've never been apart. Horse racing has existed since the domestication of the horse in the mid-5th century in Central Asia. Thoroughbred horse racing became recognized as a professional sport in Great Britain in the early 18th century. In 1750, top breeders, owners, and supporters met and formed the Jockey Club.
You know, you can go back in history. Without the horse, we wouldn't be anywhere. You know, the horses from the Comanches to the Comancheros, whatever, the horse was the key element. You needed that horse to win the battle.
The whole thing started 250 years ago with 3 stallions. The Daryle, the Turk, and the Godolphin, and those 3 stallions were sent to the Queen of England as a gift, and those 3 stallions bred her coach horses, and every thoroughbred alive today goes back to one of those 3 stallions.
In America, thoroughbred racing grew out of interest and patronage of British settlers. The first American racetrack was built in Long Island in 1665. Within 30 years, there were over 300 tracks in operation throughout the states. Horse racing flourished and expanded until the 1900s. Prohibition and anti-gambling initiatives were seen as solutions to many social issues. As a result, horse racing suffered. Horse racing has seen glorious highs and incredible lows. Horses of great reputation and athletic ability have led to some of the most exciting sporting events in our history.
Joe Hernandez called the 1937 running, when along came the horse who put the stamp of approval on this race for all time, Seabiscuit.
When that horse turns for home, and it's your horse, and he's right there, and you think he's going to win, the rush that comes over you is so huge.
In the beginning, I used to really, when Pesci ran, I mean, you too, I mean, our hearts started pounding. I could only imagine what it would be like to have a horse running in the Kentucky Derby. God, you'd have to take a Valium or something.
If most of us saw ourselves while that was happening, they couldn't believe how childlike and how idiotic we might act during that moment. It's the fulfillment of much effort by everybody involved. Everybody in the barn, the trainers, the owners, and everything, is successful to know that we've exceeded at this endeavor.
I remember my father taking us to Santa Anita every single weekend to watch the horses. I remember just wanting to live that experience with my father because his passion is horse racing. And I just wanted to be there with him and live that experience with him.
Number 4, I'll have another. Galileo Mario Gutierrez.
It's funny, every year it seems like the horses that come from California do very well as a head east, and Bodie Meister's no different. Secret Circle ran a huge second as well, so those are 2 strong horses. And
but you got a strong.
But we got to all have another. He's super strong.
Good luck. O'Neill's overrated. I agree with you, Tim, but it's not good to say it out loud. It's not really nice.
It's our big day in racing. The horse that wins the Santa Anita Derby will be one of the probably favorites for the Kentucky Derby. Yeah. So this is our big stepping stone in Santa Anita.
Right now I'm setting up the saddles for each race that I could set up, and so that way I won't get back up on later on in the day. And I got Garrett ready for the Santa Anita Derby. This is his saddle for the Santa Anita Derby. Wow. I got it ready. Then he scratched out of the 7. It would have been the same saddle because it comes back with the same weight. Yeah. Now this is for the 8th race for Alex Bisono and Gomez. And then there's this one for Gomez and Flores for the 10th race. So I got all my saddles ready almost.
The riders get ready for each race in the jockey's room, where they change to the appropriate silks and make sure their weight plus equipment coincides with what their horses have been assigned.
I took off 4 pounds that morning, and I guess I took off a little too much, although it paid off.
Sure did.
I love riding horses, but it was difficult because of my weight. I had a lot of problem keeping my weight down, and there is a lot of pressure to be in shape all the time, and the pressure of winning and losing. When things are not going well for you, it's tough. If you win, things are a lot better, believe me.
Second only to the shoe is Laffit Pincay Jr. In 1970, Pincay received the coveted George Wolfe Memorial Jockey Award, given annually at Santa Anita. In talking about jockeys, the man among men at Santa Anita has been William Lee Shoemaker.
Bill, how's your horse? How are you?
Well, I'm fine, and the horse has been training really well. He's coming to the race as good as he could ever be, in my opinion.
But Gary Stevens and Bill Shoemaker know it tonight, going after him. Bedside promise, Ferdinand caught 4 wide, but those forecasts the half mile.
We pray for the safety of the riders every day. We read something from the Bible, and then the preacher is going to say it in Spanish.
Riding, saddling, or doing any activity that we're doing here today at Santa Anita Racetrack. So let's pray and ask God to bless us, to keep the animals safe, and to keep the horses safe.
And then I pushed that horse out of the way quickly. I pushed everybody out, man. I'm gonna get clear because, man, I should have won last time, remember? I ride him once today. 9.
He's ready for the race.
Yeah, I know.
No, I just have to get him to ride my horses. It's not easy.
Well, he's getting ready to ride in the big Sav1 right now, man.
I love to ride. The last time I had to win, huh?
You won, yeah, last time you rode, but you gotta ride some more. You gotta ride some more.
Long time ago, so
awesome.
Skies and rainbows.
Skies and rainbows.
Got a good shot.
Yeah. Who's the trainer?
Bob Baffert.
Oh, Baffert's horse. Huh?
Bob Baffert.
Is he going to be here today, or is he still staying?
No, he'll be here.
Yeah. So this is your chance to go to Kentucky today?
This is it. It's a long shot, but I'm optimistic.
Hall of Fame trainer Bob Baffert also has a horse in the Santa Anita Derby, a race he has previously won.
A lot has happened in 12 days. What's this roller coaster been like?
Well, I'm just glad to be here. I'm very fortunate to be here. So I just hope my horses run well now, but I feel much better.
Although he has yet to win the Triple Crown, he has won all of the individual Triple Crown races during his career.
Yeah, if I would have stayed with quarter horse, I probably wouldn't have had a heart attack. Right, Ron? If you just, no stress. It's hard to get nervous when they're only going 400 yards.
Hopefully he's not overthinking it like us.
I'll have another Santa Anita Derby. I mean, you dream about that happening. If you own a horse, it puts you on a path to go to the Triple Crown races if you have a horse that does that. And it's certainly a lofty goal to have.
When you see your horse run and win, it's like your son hitting a home run. You know, it's just, you can't explain the excitement you get out of that.
It's proven to be a goal that was very attainable for I'll Have Another. He not only was impressive in the Lewis, he did the same thing in the Santa Anita Derby now, and so it's off to Kentucky, and the excitement of having maybe that one special horse that everybody who's in the business yearns for and dreams about, and sometimes a few of them become a reality.
How's our horse doing?
Doing great. Doing great. She's coming right along, and we're pointing for the 13th of October on Cow Cup Day.
I've been wanting to give Mike a horse for a while, and this, in my mind, just felt the appropriate time to do it.
Yeah. I'm hoping for good things. I know you've been pretty proud of the way she's what she's been showing has been pretty pretty nice?
Yeah, every work's been good, and each one better than the next, and she's looked good, and it's been hard to look good over this track because the track's been so heavy and deep, and she seemed to get over it pretty good the other day, so.
She's small, but she'll continue to grow till she's 5 years old. And, you know, this is all new to her. I do not like to race 2-year-olds at the beginning of their 2-year-old season because I think it's too hard on them. I think their legs need to develop a little better, and I think they need more time. I actually would prefer to wait till they're 3 to run, and so by the time she's ready to run, she will almost be in her 3-year-old year. She's a Calbred, which means she was bred in California. So a Calbred horse has kind of some financial advantages if you run them on in Calbred races. And you work her in company usually, right?
Yes, yeah.
And how is she? Does she show a competitive side?
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's been the aggressive one of every work. Every time we've worked her, she seems to want to get it done and can hold her own with everything we put her up against.
See if we can win a couple races today.
Well, here's hoping.
Yeah.
We'll meet in the winner's circle.
Exactly.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks.
Santa Anita is the oldest racetrack in Southern California and was opened on Christmas Day, 1934. Within a year of the state legalizing pari-mutuel wagering, several groups formed to open the track.
Santa Anita, with its lovely paddock gardens, is indeed a park. And the infield, a splash of color against a dazzling mountain backdrop, is a great attraction for the casual racegoer.
Welcome to Santa Anita. Have a great day and good luck, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the winner's circle.
Thanks, Phyllis. And this is my daughter, Megan.
Megan, pleased to meet you.
It's really exciting coming to the track and growing up, kind of coming here, and just, I mean, it's changed, but, you know, in a good way.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
There are a number of people who work behind the scenes prepping every aspect of every race. You'll never meet them. You'll never see them, but without them, there would be no race.
On race day, the runners are walked from the stable area to the receiving barn, where they are checked by a veterinarian and horse identifier.
Horse identifier? We look at the horses one time before they ever run, or the first time they're entered, and then we'll inspect them every day before they race.
Young horses, first time that they run at the track, before they can run, have to be tattooed. And it's right.
The
Tattooing
tattoo, when a horse is tattooed,
is right under here.
That identifies the horse forever.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm one of the clockers, and when the horses are going to work, the trainers come here and report the horse's name and the distance to me. And then they come back and ask for time. Storm and Seas gets 101 and 2.
101 and 2? Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
And Debbie is in charge of the turf club. She makes all the reservations. When you call in to get a table, you're talking to Debbie right here.
Thanks.
And she's been doing this for how long, Debbie?
I've been here 17 years, but I've been in this job for about 6 years.
Fantastic.
I know.
Wow.
What is the front runner?
It's one of the restaurants up at Clubhouse on the 5th floor.
And what's your official title again, Amy?
Racing office manager and horse liaison.
And what does that entail?
All day. All day, make sure everyone here is happy.
Yeah?
Everyone.
Daryle Lindley Giardino is as close to horse racing royalty as you can get. Riding since she was a child, she also holds the pedigree of being the daughter of the great actor, cowboy, artist, and advocate of the sport, Slim Pickens.
I broke my first collarbone, got bucked off a horse at 3. So my whole life has been with these animals.
It doesn't take a wager or a racetrack to prove this point. You can just take a child to see a pony for the first time. Lift the little boy or girl and place them on the saddle and watch them walk together, both a little closer to heaven than they've ever been before. I used to train ponies. I actually broke the ponies, you know. They used to use sandbags on some of them, you know, just put sandbags on the ponies running around. But then when they had crazy ponies, some Shetlands and a couple of Shetland stallions, they needed little kids to get on them.
Well, it's like I tell the jocks, you know, before a race, I usually tell them I'm riding every step with you. It's like I'm on that horse with them.
The relationship that the jockey has with the horse. There's a communication there. We might speak different languages, but there's no doubt that there's some bond that exists between a jockey and a horse, a trainer and a horse, an owner and a horse. I think that team is very important to the success of the horse as well.
I mean, they're a team. They're one. They should be one.
So what happens?
Don't you think?
I do. I would say probably 40% of the horses I race I've never sat on.
See, and that amazes me. You guys can do that.
Some horses were just easier to adapt to than others. With Home Journey, I'm glad I got to know her. She's, she wants to be aggressive, and you know that's just it's good energy. It's not anything that's being overly aggressive. So I'm glad that I know her and know what's underneath me, because she's a very talented filly that I think as a team she can move forward.
Daryle has always been involved in the care, breeding, racing, and advocacy of horses for nearly a half century.
Racehorses don't really handle like a lot of, like horses handle. I mean, they don't really know how to side pass, back up. They don't do a lot. They just kind of run. And so, there's not a lot of steering mechanisms on a lot of the racehorses. And that's why, like, when I took my horses from the track, I gave them time off, and then I reprogrammed their brains. And, I can open gates, I can do this, I can do that on them. And you also have to remember, too, the jockey's legs are up so high. And when I'm, like, on my horses, my legs are down lower, so that means I'm better able to control them and move them around with my legs. And legs are real important when you ride. But the jockey's legs are up so high, they don't have that ability. I mean, you never see a jockey with spurs. Come on. What good would it do up there?
Horses must be trained to use the starting gate, and this is just part of the routine that takes place daily in the quiet hours starting at daybreak at every track. Trainers draw on learning, experience, and often a special intuitive sense to map out the conditioning of each individual. At some point, every horse is schooled at the starting gate during training and approved by the officials prior to racing.
Daryle, I've been starting 29 years. I've been working on the gate 38 years.
Wow.
I started here in 1971 for Mrs. Marge Everett. She hired me. We're really busy in the morning. We have anywhere from probably 75 to 100 head of horses up to the starting gate. And what they do in the morning, we grade horses from okay to a fair plus to a fair to a slow. A horse has to be okayed to run, otherwise they cannot enter in the race.
But how about my little filly Home Journey? Wow.
Yeah, she's nice in the gate. She ran the other day and she never made a move perfect in the gate.
Those horses, they're ready to rock. I've seen it where horses are all nervous and something will happen, we'll have to back one out, and all of a sudden everybody relaxes and all those horses relax. When they're relaxed, they're going to run better.
When do you make a call to reload?
If one acts up, and the veterinarian, he might want to take a look at it, make sure he's not scraped up.
I noticed that my horse is getting ready to, act up a little bit. So to get the break, I went ahead and reached up to go ahead and pin him down. It was just a little bit too much for my horse to handle. And so he just kind of reared up and I just lost my balance. Down on my back I went.
You have to be just right. Your nerve got to be just right. You have to be calm and alert. And you have to be in a position when you want to make a decision, you got to be quick, and when you're in shape, you can do the right decision most of the time.
It's approximately an hour before the race. They give them a 20-minute call. Within 20 minutes, all the horses are required to come in here to the receiving barn, and they get inspected by the horseshoe inspector. He checks the shoes to make sure if it's a turf race, they're not running with toe grabs. Then I'll ID them and make sure it's the proper horse being presented to run. And then they'll take a vet tech or a veterinarian will take blood for the TCO2 testing to make sure there's no milkshaking or anything like that going on.
Illegal substances.
So milkshaking is drugging.
Milkshaking's more like kind of like blood doping, where they're just boosting the oxygen levels in the blood right before the race, and that's illegal.
And it's baking soda?
Yeah, a lot of times they use baking soda or sodium bicarbonate. Once all that's done, we put a head. There's a head numbers guy. He puts the head number on them and gives the groom the vest showing the correct number, and then we send them to the paddock.
The maiden race, you're running against other horses that haven't won yet, and so if you don't win your maiden race, you usually don't win any other races.
Oh, really?
Well, because if you can't beat maidens, horses that have never won, your likelihood of beating horses who have won, it gets tougher. The thing you understand about racing is the deeper you go into racing, the tougher it gets. And if you can't compete, then you have to decrease in level. So when you have a good horse, you think you have a real good horse, and I always say, the better your horse is, the deeper the water gets. You run against other very good horses. So
that seems like a big challenge when you take on the breeding aspect, and it seems like it's very expensive.
We had two fillies that both were very good racehorses that careers were cut short by injury, and we wanted to try to pass on their bloodline and develop some offspring that maybe could be as good as their mothers and maybe better.
What are the odds of getting I'll have another story going?
You know, they can be very long and they could be very short. You know, if you find the right horse, doesn't look like.
Did you ever have that right horse in your opinion?
I've had a couple that showed that they might be those horses.
It's a business, there's no question. I mean, it's expensive to own a horse, and you know, but as I said before, the excitement you get from owning that horse, you can't explain it, and you can't pay for that. You cannot pay for the excitement you get when you see your horse walk out on the track in your colors.
And the colors here, all the silk. There's like 8,000 in here. Wow. When we leave to go to Hollywood Park, I got a hand pick just through memory what's run in the last year. And I leave probably about 4,000 or 5,000 here. Take about 3,000.
Well, there's your colors. That's your, you know, it's your piece of that horse, and it's showing the whole world that you own this horse.
It was an unbelievable feeling. It was 9 other buddies. We put 10 guys together to own a horse. And we're probably 20 years old, and we got nosed out by O.J. Simpson's horse.
My first horse, I think, was maybe 1990. And again, it was kind of through family. There was a gentleman named Jude Feld, who was an in-law, who was a trainer here and got me involved in my first horse. I think maybe my 3rd or 4th horse I bought with Kevin Costner. I remember that. It was fun. It was a horse named Proud to Be Together, and I was with Whitney Houston on the set of The Bodyguard, and we're in a trailer, we're on a phone, and we're making an auction call.
So when I was going into the paddock as an owner, that was the most exciting ever. I went to Del Mar. It was the first race. We had a horse named Lady Kell, and I owned part of this horse.
What normally would be an uneventful race was made all the more exciting when a fan in the paddock spooked Home Journey and the horse reacted wildly, knocking a couple of women to the ground in the process. The expertise and calm of veteran jockey Aaron Greider brought Home Journey back under control. Usually a horse burning this kind of energy before a race is an indication that the horse will have nothing left for the competition ahead.
When you are on that racetrack, it's deadly serious business out there.
It is.
And there's $1 million horses out there, and you better know what you're doing, or you're in trouble.
I thought, oh no, she's used all her energy up. It's not good. She's not going to be able to do well in this race. And I think Mark kind of thought the same thing.
All of a sudden she started to rear and buck a little just to play a little, but she started to come towards me, and I don't know if it was the color of my dress.
A little frisky, and she showed me that she might hop a little bit, but when I was getting up on her, I'm halfway there, she started to lunge, and at that point you can either bail or you can try and hang with them, and there's I don't know if I'm such a good cowboy, but I sure don't like falling, so I hung in well.
Hung with her.
Yeah, she was good, and she bucked a few times, but once she did, she settled down and just said, okay, what am I supposed to do, and let's get out of here and be professional.
The horse, one of the most magnificent animals that God ever created. If you doubt it, go down to your nearest track and put $10 down on any horse. Then listen for the beat of your own heart as it matches the thunder brought down to the earth as their hooves find the ground. You'll feel a shortness of breath as the race begins, and if that race is close and you have a chance at turning your $10 bill into a 20, trust me, you'll pray, you'll scream, you'll cheer, and most of all, you'll want to see your horse, your new best friend, cross that finish line first. And
whoa! On the far side, Home Journey is away quickly out. Well, with Sophie's Secret, those two lead them. On the far side, Home Journey is away quickly out. Tuck over here. Oh my God! You got up 2 lengths in the front. Come on, good girl. They run past the 3/8 and Home Journey clears the field. Home Journey kicks on for home a length and a half. Now here comes Sophie's Secret re-rallying. And so it's Home Journey and Sophie's Secret coming to the quarter pole together. On the inside, Hot and Pleasing taking third, Global Warming. Roller Bombers on the extreme outside. Tis a Kiss nearly never got involved today. They come to the top of the lane. Home Journey on the inside being taken on now by Sophie's Secret. Sophie's Secret going on gamely on the outside. Home Journey full of hot battles on now. And Home Journey is keeping Sophie's Secret at bay. And Home Journey's going a long way. Home Journey and Aaron Ryder have won it. Home Journey length and 3/4. Sophie's Secret second. Global Warming finished third.
you won't care if it's by a nose, head, or 10 lengths. You're going to want to be right and see your choice standing dead center in that winner's circle. Proud, happy, and triumphant. You're going to want to win. Quite a bit of money was made on Home Journey that day, at odds of over 25 to 1. The horse had become a magician and turned $2 bets into nearly $60 wins.
Long-term owners are guys who are just tough because it's a tough game. I mean, if you're an owner and you're a good owner, you don't armchair quarterback after the race. You just take your punches and you keep going. You just got to have that staying power. Good owners, like, you know, not the guys who come in for 6 months, buy a horse, lose, they're out, or the guy who buys a horse, wins, and the next horse loses, he's out. It's the guys who have the staying power. You got to have staying power.
Actress Greer Garson Fogelson and her husband Buddy were chosen racing's outstanding owners of 1971, the first year of the Sports Eclipse Awards, for their campaign of the Horse of the Year, Ack.
Oh my God, what happened?
Well, I'm still recovering. Our filly won, first-time starter. I've never had a first-time starter win ever, as long as I've been in the horse business racing. I have to tell you, it's the highest high you could ever be on in your whole life. After she used so much energy, I thought, well, she can't win this race. And then when I saw her, and it's like, holy cow, she's got so much speed.
The one thing you can't buy at a sale or by looks is what somebody has in their chest. She's a racehorse. She acted like a racehorse. She performed like a racehorse. There may be horses bigger and maybe appear to be stronger, but there's not a lot of horses that have a bigger heart. And I'll take heart over size any day of the week.
Everybody has told us that this filly has done everything right. But you know, sometimes it's kind of hard to believe because you don't see her do everything right. But I guess they were right. She does do everything right.
While Home Journey was busy making believers out of skeptics, I'll Have Another was busy winning the Kentucky Derby, the first leg in the possible capture of the elusive Triple Crown, a feat no horse has been able to accomplish since the Great affirmed in 1978. Many have come close, but very few have ever realized the dream.
You know, the Derby, the lead up to the Kentucky Derby, I've never been part of that kind of energy. We had 2 run in 2007, but they were real outsiders, and this year bringing the San Diego Derby horse in there, you know, we had some attention on us leading up to the race, and just the energy and the excitement going into the race was just second to none. I've never experienced anything like that.
Horses are athletes. Yeah, they have to be in good shape to win.
If you train hard, if you train properly, if you're winning your fights and you're confident, yeah, that's one thing. But if you have that it factor, that one little thing that only a few can have, then you're gonna be great.
World champions are a breed apart. Oscar De La Hoya has defeated a record 17 world champions, won 10 different world titles in 6 different weight classes, and has generated more pay-per-view revenue than any other boxer in history. De La Hoya knows a thing or two about winning.
You look at the horse in the eye, and there's something you feel. There's that instinct that you cannot train for, you cannot buy, you cannot make up. It's just there. It's a feeling that you get. And only from a special horse. Only from a special horse.
A nationwide panel of turf experts voted this list of the top thoroughbred stakes winners during the quarter century of racing at Santa Anita. Seabiscuit, who climaxed his famous comeback by winning the 1940 Big Cap.
I keep harping back to Secretariat and horses like Zenyatta. I mean, they're so special. You know, it's like a Gretzky or a Lemieux in hockey.
What's Secretariat? It's one of the top 50 athletes of all time. So to me, they are unbelievable athletes. They jog every day. I've been on them before, and the power and the explosiveness is amazing. It truly is.
Paul Duca is a former Major League All-Star baseball player. He has owned thoroughbred racehorses and is currently a TVG racing analyst.
They love to do what they're doing, and you can see a horse's demeanor change as soon as you put the bridle on. It would be like me putting on my cleats. Their game face does go on, and it's pretty amazing to watch.
They're just phenomenal athletes, and I mean, to go through the stress and strain of training that they do, and to be able to run a mile and a quarter, mile and a half, whatever, it takes a special animal.
4-time Pro Bowl selection and 2-time Super Bowl champion Dwight Hicks talks about what it takes to be a winning athlete and how he sees the jockey and horse relationship.
It basically comes down to the will to compete. And with the better athletes that go above and beyond, number one, you have to be blessed with great talent. Then you have to have the discipline to train. And with the training and the discipline and all that, you know, I think it takes all of that to have a champion. But then the stars have to fall in the right place too, because there's other guys, you know, trying to compete and, you know, want to beat you just as bad as you want to beat them.
I was an exercise physiologist. I trained a number of world-class athletes in different sports. And they said, if you can make us run faster, why don't we get a horse, see what you can do with a horse. You can train human athletes a lot harder than you can a horse. A horse, you pretty much have to baby him. You have to be gentle and get the most out of him by being kind to him. Human athletes, you can just drill them to death and they'll give you their best.
They're high potent animals that have a lot of energy. They have fragile, bodies that you have to take care of, and they're taken care of like every other athlete there is.
Racehorses rank up there with the greatest athletes on the planet. Just like Michael Jordan, Joe Namath, or Muhammad Ali, these animals are trained, cared for, and given every opportunity for success.
Human being can go to so many other ways to develop his body. Horses have to do it with their legs. Everything is about their legs. And if you were to design a horse in a think tank, you probably wouldn't design them the way they're built. You got an 11 to 1,200 pound animal who's on 4 legs that are smaller than ours, with very little muscle to them, mostly tendons, ligaments, and bone, with feet that are not directly below their legs, that have to take a lot of shock in pounding when they're running. And they can run at 40 to 45 miles per hour. So it takes a lot of effort to get them into the physical position for them to be competitive against their peers at a high level.
These are athletes, and they are taking care of it like they are. They get their legs rubbed down, whether it's with ointments, with mud wraps, or whatever it might be. They get their ankles wrapped and just for support, like Michael Jordan always did when he was playing basketball.
Our stars get treatment they cannot believe. I mean, the treatment these horses get, and I think they think like these trainers send them out, they're tough on them. I mean, these trainers are the biggest animal-loving freaks that I've ever met.
in the economy we live in now, I think a lot of people don't realize that some of these horses live better than probably 30 to 40% of America. And that's a harsh truth. But if you went to some of the farms in Kentucky and some of the farms where these horses are, you could eat off the floors.
Anybody that's high society, you might call them, and they've got good horses, they pay big money for the horses. And so you have to be careful, and not just for that, but just being a horseman, you take precautionary methods, to make horses last.
In 1982, John Henry, at age 7, would try that route. Assigned 130 pounds, the most weight ever carried to victory in a big cap, John Henry was readied by trainer McAnally for his attempt to become the first horse in history to win the handicap twice.
Ron McAnally is one of the greatest and most respected trainers in the history of the sport. Known best as the trainer of the great John Henry, McAnally has over 2,500 wins as a trainer and shows no signs of stopping now.
Well, of course, John Henry was a horse that I trained. He was one of, my favorite horse.
3 of them across the track with 3/8 of a mile to go. It's the one on the outside, High Council at the rails.
No matter what their point of view, experts, spectators, trainers, and owners all agree on one thing. The racehorse is perhaps the greatest natural-born athlete on the planet.
Gaining ground. They turn for home. On the outside, here comes John Henry. John Henry on the outside. Between horses, Perot. It's the 1/3 at the rail. And down the stretch they come. On the rail, it's Perot. John Henry on the outside. Those two are going to battle the wire. John Henry on the outside. Perot at the rail. Noses apart.
I just love the competition of it all, and that it's an event. And watch these beautiful, powerful animals compete.
If you compare the records of some of the most successful horses in history to the greatest athletes in any sport, the horses usually come out on top. In order for any modern-day athlete to match these records, you would have to look to boxing, mixed martial arts, or tennis to find athletes who get close to success in their fields to equal that of the best horses.
What's the most exciting part for you?
Winning.
The horses are number one because those, without them, we're done. The gamblers are the ones who support the game. And without the gamblers, this game's over.
January 16th, 1989, I picked 9 winners in a row, bet a $3,840 pick 9 ticket, and won $1,065,000.
You got to promote what goes on between these gamblers because everyone's competing against each other. And then at the end of the race, somebody's a genius because they won.
I do 3 things mainly, okay? I come out here in the morning and I watch horses train, and I obviously talk to horsemen. The second thing I do is drudgery, and that's 2.5 hours of statistics and watching replays on the replay machine. And third, what I do, and equally as important, if anything, is paddock profiling the horses in the afternoon. When people say, oh, wouldn't it be nice if the horse could talk to you straight from the horse's mouth? It doesn't come from their mouth, it comes from their body language. Horses do speak to you, they tell you how they're feeling, good, bad, or indifferent, depending on their body language. And I've been incredibly blessed to be around extraordinary horsemen for the last 27 years of my life here in Southern California, and I'm a pretty good paddock profiler.
Everyone has their own way of reading a form, you know. You can go by breeding, you can go by trainers, you can go by jockeys, and there's the people that just like to pick a number, and then there's a million girls we know that pick the color of the horse.
My best friend's father was a professional racetrack bettor and avid follower of horses. And he would study 5-6 hours a night. He would chart every horse. He would write down what happened to him, whether it was a horse he bet or didn't bet or was watching. He would have extensive notes. And I was infatuated with how I began to root for certain horses that I saw over and over again. It's almost like inside, they became my horse.
Whenever I introduce people to thoroughbreds, once they get bit by the bug, they don't go back. It's a very special thing, but it's hard to actually explain. It's hard for me to just stand here and explain it to me. You got to come out and check it out for yourself.
It's like nothing else. It's just
just captivates you. It's a disease. Once you get involved, there's no turning back.
Going to the local store in the neighborhood and picking up the racing form, paying 25 cents, and he would give me an extra nickel to buy a candy. I mean, those are the best moments of my life.
You can pick who you root for and who you're betting on. So it's really a thinking man's or woman's game.
There's no greater value on your gambling dollar than a horse race. If you're willing to keep your hands out of your pockets and wait for the right opportunities, there is nothing anywhere in Vegas or sports or poker or any other form of gambling that even comes close to the opportunities that horse racing presents you with.
Only 4 other races had ever had purses as large, and none lasted. Skeptics predicted the same for the big cap, especially since the country was in the midst of the Great Depression. But many big stables sent their horses, even delaying retirement of some. The big cap was launched with a full field of 20 starters.
To me, it's like a science, and there's a little bit of competitiveness, reading the form, taking a look at the horses. I'm a competitive person, and it's just the way it is. That's the thrill of it for me.
It's not always for the rich.
I hit the long shot on the marathon race.
I almost retired last week, I'm sorry to say. I just missed that Mega Millions by 6 numbers. It was very, very close. I could feel it.
Yeah, it's definitely a social event. We've met a lot of people along the way, and it's, meet new friends, and, owners and trainers has been a blessing too. So yeah.
I think this is one of those kind of races where I think anybody can win. There are no givens here.
We've got to work hard, and my experience has been the harder you work, the luckier you get.
That's never true.
Yeah.
Every day you find something new in this business.
Give me one. Let me do it just once, even on the gallops, so you feel sorry for poor little Bullet Train. But it's that kind of affinity you have with horses and with those who train them, those who own them. It's a great activity that brings people together. You talk about it and you reminisce and you think what might be in the future, and you have your hopes and your dreams when you buy a horse. And a lot of money can often be spent, often a little money, so what? But to the person who buys it for a few $1,000s, nevertheless it means a lot to them.
These animals give their lives for our pleasure.
It came directly at my finger. It looked like a carrot, apparently.
Did you tell Mark you're sorry for biting him?
We know he's got good teeth.
Yeah, you like them oats, huh? Want some more of them oats? Yeah. You tell Mark you're sorry, yeah? We can't forget the people who spend their lives following the horses from track to track. These people have built their lives around the care and love of these four-legged athletes, and they give them their all.
Rosie, how long have you been working here?
32 years.
Oh my goodness, you've seen it all.
Everything. I'm just, here I come this corner, whatever I hear here, I'm just like a priest. I can't open.
So
Maybe I'm gonna have I'm gonna write a book. What happens at Clucker's Corner stays at Clucker's. They don't even have to ask. I know what they want when they get in my. There's your key.
A Hall of Fame in here, huh?
John Henry up there. Right here is Bob Baffert.
I came in the first time in 1947 as a player, and I stopped working since 1972. Everybody loves me. I love them too.
Oh, we love you, yeah. Everybody does love you.
Everybody loves me, and they say, why? Because I care for people.
Frank and Mary are sisters.
And brothers.
Sisters and brothers, yes.
Wow.
What's it like being a family team out here?
I like it.
And then you have the tours during the racing.
That's right, the tours.
So you see more children. It's infectious, I think. It rubs off on you because you see, their enthusiasm, and it makes you appreciate, that you're here and you're actually, around these animals. It's neat when you see people come in, even if they're not gamblers, the people that are here to see the animal, and they appreciate, just the beauty of the animal, the strength of the animal. But every now and then you have somebody that just doesn't understand that there's a reason that this is blocked off from the public.
We try to make sure all four legs are showing and then the horse is looking at us so we can see the head marking and the leg markings. And then if something's wrong and we need to apply for a correction, then we'll have to take more photographs and rewrite the markings. A lot of times the markings are up for interpretation on how someone looks at one star, another person might describe it a little different.
And Kim is a steward. She's the policeman.
Yes, I am.
She's the policeman,
One
and
of the
she's
three.
very strict. Yes, one of 3.
And Daryle Ann knows how strict I
I do. I've seen her. I've gone in.
And she understands
and
why.
I understand. Yes, I do. It's all about safety, and it's all about not only the safety of the man, but the horse also.
Horse too.
And
we have to enforce the rules and regulations.
Yes, you
and
do.
safety is a big part of it.
Yes, and if there's a discrepancy or dispute over who won the race, whatever.
Who infraction who, if there's an inquiry called, if there's a jockey's objection, owner or trainer objection, then we review it and make a decision.
Is this a 24/7 operation for you?
Oh yeah. You know, because anything can happen in the middle of the night. You know, I have a guy.
You get a call.
I have a guy at the barn all night. You know, when we're home in case the horse gets sick or something like that. One mistake can make it be a life to the horse.
And then you're back out here.
You know, the horse can get colic or something in the middle of the night, and you want to be on top of it. Yeah. You know, because an hour can make a difference.
Tranquilo, no se oye ruido de nada.
Y pregunta que si usted vive aquí.
Sí, nos tienen cuarto.
Yeah, he has a bedroom here.
Sí, nos tiene cuarto aquí el patrón.
What's it like during the middle of the night here?
¿Cómo es la noche? En medio de a la medianoche o a la 1 de la mañana, ¿cómo es aquí?
Muy tranquilo, no se oye ruido de nada.
It's very serene, yeah, there's no noise or
Los
anything.
caballos tienen que estar tranquilos.
Within the horse racing world, the precautions that most people don't have any sense or have any knowledge of are pretty immense on these horses.
I always try to do what's right for the horse. The horse comes first, you know, and without the horse, you know, run them in the wrong spot, run them in the wrong time, it's not going to do me any good, it's not going to do the horse any good, it's not going to do the owner any good.
This is phenylbutazone. The runners for tomorrow will be getting bute shots.
And what does this do for them, the horse?
It's an anti-inflammatory, just like human athletes run on Advil, ibuprofen. It's an anti-inflammatory.
Sometimes certain trainers seem to jive better with certain characteristics in a horse.
We breed these horses, they love running, they race, we take as good as care of them we can.
These horses are very well taken care of. They get the best of everything, the best feed, best care. They're very well taken care of.
This medication is called GastroGuard, and you give it to horses to help with ulcers because they get ulcers. This is like $50 or $60, maybe more, a tube. And a lot of these racehorses get it because they get ulcers just like people. That's John Henry, is a little old man horse, right here. And see how Ron's bridles, Dan is meticulous, and the brow bands are all even, you know, they're all hung perfectly. When you go outside, everything's hung up perfectly. Dan's meticulous.
Trainers take quite a lot of care to bring them along to make sure that they can get the talent out of them without injuries prior to racing, which in itself is the hardest spot. Once you get them racing, they're pretty much in condition, and it's more of a maintenance program. But getting there is stretching those limits each time to get them farther along and closer to the reality of becoming race ready and developing their ability to its fullest.
Trainer have to sometimes get to know the horse, get to know what the horse really wants, get to know when he wants to big work, when he doesn't want to big work.
Yeah, Home Journey's doing great. You know, there was a very nice horse that she was working with, and she just wanted to make sure she stayed in front of her, which shows me that she's got great great skills, but she's also got great heart, and that's what wins races.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah, wow, really impressed. Good girl.
While Home Journey was preparing for her second race, I'll Have Another was busy winning the Preakness, the second leg of the Triple Crown.
A firm came back to Santa Anita for the 1978-79 season after winning the Santa Anita Derby and Triple Crown and being acclaimed 1978 Horse of the Year.
A firm won the Triple Crown. I said, oh, okay, next year we have another one.
We came within a neck of winning the Triple Crown, won the Kentucky Derby in a hard-fought battle, won the Preakness in a hard-fought battle, and looked like he was going to win the Belmont easily, and he got nailed with about 2 strides left to go. But a year later, we came back and won the world's richest race in the Dubai World Cup, was $4 million, and that horse trusted me, and I trusted him, and he would give me everything that he had, and he knew that I was given everything I had to encourage him to be there.
Affirmed was put through his paces by Laz Barrera, who later in the year would collect his 4th consecutive Eclipse Trophy as Trainer of the Year.
Santa Anita Derby, Kentucky Derby, Preakness. Did the pressure amp up from the Derby to the Preakness?
You know, the excitement amped up. You know, after winning the Santa Anita Derby, I didn't think it got any better than that. It was like, I was ready to retire. Thank God it didn't retire, because I was ready to do that. And then the Kentucky Derby winning that, and then winning the Preakness. Are you kidding me? How does it get any better than this? And you know, it's all about the horse. So as long as the horse continues to do well. The first day I laid eyes on him, I knew it's a Derby winner.
The odds to accomplish the feat of a Triple Crown, they're probably 1,000,000 to 1, if not more.
What I asked.
To be able to get a horse to do what you've gotten this horse to do up to now, it becomes so much more difficult with each race, and the development of the horse and the horse's personal development is just built along at such a great, perfect pace.
Yeah, he's peaking. How do you do that, Doug?
Well, you know, I think we're extremely blessed. Well, first of all, he's a brilliant horse, but secondly, Paul Redham chose to run him into Bob Lewis off a 5-month layoff. You and I wouldn't have done that, you know, and that's something that he wanted to see. He kept saying to me, you keep telling me how good this horse is training. Why not put him into Bob Lewis and just kind of get a gauge where we're at? And I said, all right, makes sense. And we did it, and he won impressively, and by doing that, we gained some more graded earnings. We were able to give him a 9-week break, and that all kind of set into motion where we are right now. So I think that if we hadn't run into Bob Lewis, we wouldn't be here. We'd be talking about some allowance race at Hollywood Park.
I'll have another, doesn't have the problem, wins the Triple Crown. Do they race him again?
More than likely, he would have been retired.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the owner, from what I heard on the television, he's not a breeder. He likes to run horses. So in that case, he might have kept him around for another year.
Like the Breeders' Cup?
But he would have been worth maybe $20 million had he won the Triple Crown. So $20 million, the insurance companies aren't going to, if he goes out there and breaks a leg, you know, he's out, he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in the Santa Anita Derby and the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, he probably sat 5 minutes in the winner's circle waiting for all of his knuckleheads trying to get lined up to take a picture. Sure. And he just stood there after running his butt off and just stood there.
Waited on you.
Yeah, waited on us. I mean, he's obviously a very special horse.
The single-day attendance record at Santa Anita, which had stood since 1947, was broken when 85,527 fans came for the handicap in 1985.
If history is to be believed, then horse racing is just like every other major sporting event that has seen highs and lows. 25 years ago, American race fans wagered over $9 billion during the 1989 season, and approximately 50 million fans attended live racing events over an 8,000-day racing season across the country. Today, while the wagering might still be keeping pace, live attendance, interest in the sport, and even the number of breeders and owners has begun to suffer.
The fan attendance is down because of the TVG and all the home betting, but there's still, like on Saturdays and Sundays, you'll get some people, but not like they used to.
We just don't have people who have enough vision. I just think you got to compete, and we don't have anybody who wants to compete. I mean, me included. I think if I saw what I was lacking right now, is we still got to get out there and compete, because in order to beat the Lakers or in order to compete with the movie theaters, we got to put on a better show. And it's just like, I think we lack that. I think we lack that kind of like the fighting thing. You know, we lack. PETA comes out against us. Everyone runs. I mean, even though everyone's an animal lover, sometimes you forget when for so long people wanted to come out. Now it's like, how do we get them out here? Instead of, they're not coming, how do we get them out here? So
back in the day, we were the #1 spectator sport in the United States. We didn't have competition from Major League Baseball. We didn't have competition from the NHL, the NFL, or Major League Baseball, NASCAR, any of that, and we failed to promote our sport.
We don't get any young blood in the game, the future is dismal.
Gambling in general is hard to do. You're gonna suck a person dry for 2 more days? Let him refuel his bank account and go to work. And then he'll be able to come out on Friday, Saturday, Sunday with his family, instead of coming out on Wednesday and Thursday and maybe not going to work.
Too many people love when other people lose. It's like, it should be, we're all together. I mean, we're all on the same page. And I think until we get that, it's gonna be it's tough sledding, but we're getting there.
The world is changing constantly. Our society is changing. There's so much more to do. And if you look at boxing, boxing to me isn't what it used to be. And maybe horse racing is changing in that respect too. But because our world continues to change, you know, I mean, we'd like to keep the things that we love and that we know and have it perpetuate and keep going.
2 sports in this world that are dying. One is boxing, one is horse racing. 2 things they have in common: no commissioner. And that's the bottom line. To me, this sport has rubbed people the wrong way for a long time. And I'm not saying every partnership out there and this and that, but there's been a lot where taking people over the barrel. It's the bottom line. I mean, buying a horse at a sale for $150,000, and by the time you sell the shares of the horse, it's $250,000. And you know what? They got away with it for a long time, and now it's over with now. And things need to be regulated. The drug rules need to be the same and everything. I know it's different because it's different rules from state to state, but somehow someone needs to get this all together. And I don't get it. It's a sport that eats its own. It's a sport that wants to be big, yet when you criticize or you are a little critical about something that goes on in the sport, they don't like it. There's just so many different things that need to be done, and because we're losing the generation. If you look at the generation that comes to the racetrack, they're
my age.
Yeah, and I'm 40 now, and you see a lot of guys my age. But from 40 and below, you don't see a lot of kids. I mean, unless you're at Keeneland, unless you're at Del Mar, but at your local racetrack. And it's just tough to gauge. But to me, I think there's just too many different rules, too many different things, too many people with their hands out, and not enough people giving back for the fan.
I blame it on the not taking care of the customers and fans that we've had. We've let them get away from us.
If they come once or twice and they win, they'll see it. If they come here and they lose their savings for the week, you might not get them back again.
And in baseball and football and basketball, I used to tell everybody, the guy that sells the team, owns the team, signs your check. But the people that come through the turnstiles are the people that are paying your check. It's the same in horse racing. Unless you're not coming through the turnstiles, the purses are going to go down and everything else is going to go down. The breeding programs, it's going to go one thing after another. And it's really tough to see and to watch now some of these great racetracks that might be closing soon, or the way the sport is going.
I think just a love. There's not a love for it. It used to be a love. People would want to read the paper. The newspapers just don't print us because there's not a love for horse racing. So they got to change that public perception. There's not a love of the animal. It's just not there.
Professional sports, horse racing, it's all about money. It's all about economics. And you have different people going to these events. And somehow, maybe as people grow old and die off and they're not taking their families or kids showing them the nuances of horse racing, and kids are getting into other things. People aren't passing it on. Kids aren't as interested, and if you don't have the fans,
I think the doping and the drug thing comes up all the time, and it's just not promoted where people are saying, the right things. Everyone says drugs, and then I don't see how that would ever help us. I think if there was a controversy, it'd be the jockeys going at it, or different trainers not liking each other, the competition. I think that's the only thing, but as far as the drug thing, I think that's something, just putting another nail in the coffin.
I don't think the game is at all the problem. We still have these phenomenal animals. The horses, there's nothing more amazing to watch run than a horse. And the fact that has to interact then with a human being, I think is extraordinary. So we have the man, we have the beast, and they couldn't be a more beautiful union when that works. So
it is the bravery, certainly, of the riders. All horses aren't brave. They're like human beings. There's some cowards there, and there's some try their best, and no other sport do you go around with an ambulance following you. In racing, you go out there, you're 35, 40 miles an hour, and you could end up in hospital.
This is not a sport for the faint of heart. There are a million things that can go wrong with a horse or with the business of racing. So to be a part of it, you have to love not just the horses, but the business as well.
What goes through your mind when your horse goes down like it did last week?
It just basically, you're in the floor saying, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. Let it happen now, fast.
And did you do a complete roll?
And I was trying to pull the horse away from the accident, but it happened so fast.
It takes that special talent to bring back the masses, to the sport of boxing, and it takes a special horse. It takes a special jockey, to rekindle that fire.
That's the one huge challenge, of course, of the Triple Crown is you got 3 taxiing races on 3 different type of dirt surfaces, 3 different states, and then you could see why guys want to go there every year, want to try to be part of the Triple Crown series every year because it's so much excitement. And there's nothing better that comes along with winning than winning with friends and family, and then thank you guys for being there through all the highs and lows.
We're all rooting really hard for you.
We are,
You're
absolutely.
very deserving of this opportunity.
And you'll be able to hear us.
We're glad that you have it.
Thank you.
And
Yes, you'll be able to hear us all the way to New York.
Better.
As O'Neill preps for the Triple Crown, trouble is brewing for him and his horse. Amid controversy and speculation, O'Neill and his partners pull I'll Have Another from the Belmont Stakes, ending his chances for the Triple Crown. The reason for the scratch was noted as tendon injury, but other issues came up.
And then at that case, it could even break down to the point where está bien, gracias.
Got to be such a shock for this horse to be, so primed and ready to run, and now it's a letdown.
Pretty bittersweet.
Yeah.
Getting that close, and what you can't stop appreciating. A horse wins the Kentucky Derby, then he wins the Preakness,
And he won the Santa
then the
Anita
big
Derby,
letdown.
too.
And how do you deal with all those emotions?
I know.
well, it is a letdown, but you've got the reward that you had that special horse, and you traveled a lot farther than most people ever get an opportunity to, and they didn't beat him.
Yeah, they didn't beat him.
They didn't beat him.
Caught early enough, if it's just a tendon injury, they can, with time off, that can heal. It has a very poor blood supply, so it takes a long time to heal, but there is a good potential that it will heal up and be fine. As you get into more of the suspensory ligament issues, they can be definitely somewhat life-threatening.
And what degree did Hell Have Another's?
It was actually
1 to 10.
From what I'm told, it's quite mild. I haven't seen the horse, but from what I'm told, it was on the milder side. But it was still, the horse would probably not compete at the top level of racing anymore.
When it does heal, they come back at a lower level.
Usually, yes. Yeah. There's very few that will do better after that injury.
Well, I think it showed a lot that they scratched the horse, because they probably could have course, I don't know if we were gotten by the vets.
Yeah,
but-
potentially not. Potentially not. But it was definitely the soundest move for the welfare of the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would have affected the performance in that particular race?
Most likely, yes.
It would have.
Yes,
No
most
way
likely.
of knowing that for sure.
Yeah, there's no way to be sure, but if you
Likelihood is yes.
the likelihood is yes.
Okay.
I mean, I was disappointed, but I didn't want to see the horse get hurt. Well,
He will always have
we
a
feel
home
that
with
we
us
feel that way
somewhere.
about all of our horses,
Yeah.
our family, you know.
I'll have another, the super horse with the super story that started Santa Anita Derby, Kentucky Derby, Preakness.
Every day, something can happen physically to an animal to impair their ability to move forward and or even remain at the level that they're at.
We, come out with a thing going, oh, Doug O'Neill's suspended, he's cheating. It's like, it's so dumb. But nobody wants to say, guys, what are you doing? This is the dumbest move. In baseball, a manager never gets fired before the World Series. Football, there's never a coach getting fired before the Super Bowl. Golf, Tiger Woods, he's the most fine golfer there is. Nobody knows that. They find in-house. NASCAR. But instead, horse racing decides to come out and make a negative statement. It's terrible.
NYRA, New York Racing Association, has been under a lot of different audits, and there's been a lot of stuff going on there. So now the state has basically been running the place over there, and it'd be like the DMV coming here and running Hollier Park. It'd be a challenge.
Unfortunately, I think every conversation or every interview with Doug was, so how do you feel about your suspension? And it's like, well, what do you mean, how do I feel? I was found innocent. How do I feel? I feel terrible. So, and I feel bad because I think the CHRB thought they were doing something right, but they just did a huge, huge fumble.
The people that were wanting to take it negative were all people that didn't know me, didn't know Paul, didn't know the horse, didn't know our barn.
This isn't a tragedy, and that's what we kept saying. It's like, it's not a tragedy. It's a bummer. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But is it a tragedy? No. I mean, 9/11 was a tragedy.
These issues tarnished the season but could not diminish the greatness of the horse, his record, or the excitement he generated for the fans and racing as a whole.
And all it takes is one athlete, one special athlete, or one special horse to rekindle that fire, that passion that people have towards racing.
Sometimes you have a very competitive horse that unfortunately doesn't have a lot of talent. Sometimes you have a very talented horse that's not very competitive. So we've had both. I'd rather have a competitive horse that's got limited talent than a talented horse that
We definitely have had that.
yeah, that have talent, but they just won't give it to you. They're not competitive.
Oh, I spend a lot of time at the barn with my horses. It's time consuming. It's a time consuming. No matter what discipline you do something with a horse, it's time consuming. And you really have to watch them because things happen. I mean, accidents. It's just amazing how much trouble they can get into. I could wrap them in cotton, put them in a stall, and they'd still find a way to get themselves hurt. I mean, every morning when I go to the barn for my own saddle horses, it's like, oh, please be okay.
Yeah, Home Journey, she's a filly that, for as little as she's done so far, competition-wise, she's really smart. She knows what she's doing, and I don't think you can teach a horse to be competitive. I think you either have it or you don't, and she does.
I get flustered when I talk about these animals because I love them so much. When you're around them and you see them as a baby and you watch them come to the races and you watch them come to the track and it's like I can see my horses out there and I know what they're gonna do. I mean, I just know how they're gonna react to something.
You hate to see them go, I mean, it's the same thing with Pesci when she got hurt, It was not just that she had my name, but we didn't want to let her go, you know that, and we sold half of her at some point or a quarter of her, and but I still wanted to hang on. So we started breeding. That's what we were doing, we're still breeding.
When we first retired him at the horse park, led him out to the center of the paddock where he was going to live the rest of his life. And he slowly eased the shank off of him. And he started backing away. He's standing there in the middle of the paddock I've seen horses, and I've seen him when he hollered for his feeder. He let out the biggest yell. You know, he started hollering. And the thought came to me, he's thinking, all I've done, you know, all my life, and you're leaving me.
Above his grave is a stone with the following poem. If tears could build a stairway and memories a lane, I'd walk right up to heaven and bring you home again.
If we could just produce more heroes.
You can't always give, you can't give them what's inside their heart, inside their chest. They have to have it or they don't have it. And some horses have it more than other, and it further makes them accomplish what they're physically able to, and whatever level that is. Where sometimes you'll get a horse, which we had several years ago, a horse, Storm and Lucy, who we bred, and if you were to see her in a sale, no one knew horses would give $10 for her. She won allowance races and everything. She had a heart bigger than this room. She just wouldn't quit.
Yeah, Home Journey's doing great. She won first time out, and then she's really settled good. They gave her a little bit of time and didn't rush her back into her morning workouts right away, just to ease her mind and let her relax and enjoy the victory. And she's doing great. She's full of energy. You get on her, she's very playful, and it's nothing that she's doing that's wrong. It's just that she's got so much energy, she's dying for you to let her go. So sometimes it's a little interesting on your way to the track.
Today, Home Journey will race to see if she has what it takes or if the first time out was just a fluke. The horse has had some incredible workouts, and it's time to put her speed to the test.
All right, here is Vic Stauffer with the call live, race number 7 from Betfair, Hollywood Park.
They're off. Warren Sugarbuzz made a mess of the break. Home Journey broke very well, goes to the front from Tribal Gal and Oh Happy Gray. At the rail goes Awesome Annie, then Ah Golly Molly and Wink and Wish, followed by A Kiss for a Rose and Sacred Delight, and Warren Sugarbuzz at the back of the pack. Home Journey up the backstretch. It's a 2-length advantage. Now more than that to the half-mile pole. Home Journey fast and leads by 3. Tribal Gal is second, 3/4 of a length from Awesome Annie, who moves through at the rail. Oh Happy Gray has 5 lengths to make up, and so does Wink and Wish. Then it's another 3.5 back to Ah Golly Molly and A Kiss for a Rose. Sacred Delight has 10 lengths to make up, and 10 lengths last. Warren's Sugarbuzz. Home Journey has been in charge since they sprung it. Home Journey to the quarter pole. Now just a length in front. Home Journey goes to that quarter-mile marker and again opens up 2. Home Journey just took a brief breather, but now opens up a big lead, and Home Journey is pouring it on at the top of the stretch. Suddenly 6 or 7 lengths in front. Awesome Annie, A Kiss for a Rose to the outside, Wink and Wish, Sacred Delight, and Ah Golly Molly all battling for second. There's no doubt who's going to win. It's Home Journey and Aaron Greider, and they have run up the score. Home Journey, yes. Home Journey won by, wow, 9.5.
How good is Home Journey? That's a rhetorical question. Obviously very, very good. 2 for 2 now in her career, and by daylight over the synthetic, eventually off at 5-2. It is 8-1-3-9.
Wow, two times she's run, 2 wins, wire to wire both times. Unbelievable. When I saw her run the second time, it was like, you almost can't believe your eyes because she just ran so fast. There's something about when you raise a horse, a homebred horse, you've got the mare, you've been with them since they've been born. I mean, all horses are special, but I don't know, there's a special tie to them
when you've raised them and you've watched them grow, and then you see them win. And I wish I had the words, I don't, to tell you what the feeling is, but it's the highest high that I've ever been on in my whole life.
It's a little bit more special in some ways, and I'll tell you why. One is because we bred her, so she's definitely like our own child. We've seen her from the day she was born up through now, and I've been very excited about her since she was a yearling.
She really showed a big race today.
Did she worry you when she took that breath before she rebroke as they turned for home?
Nah, I wasn't too worried. She pretty much sewed up the race by the time they hit the turn. The 7 was under a ride and Aaron still had horse. So it's been a heck of a week, and I couldn't be happier with the way things have gone. And no matter what the agenda holds in store for us, we got a lot to look forward to.
Last year when Turbulent Descent was a favorite and had a tough trip, did you think that was sort of your chance and it maybe passed you by and you had to wait the full year? It's funny how things come full circle.
Yeah, you never know how this game will treat you. Just keep your head down, you keep working, you keep digging, and that's what I've done.
Was it true that you were up at 2:30 the day after Breeders' Cup back to the barn?
Unfortunately, it is true. You know, once that race is done, it's off to the next ones. You got to get the next horses ready. It's a tough game. You always got to be ready.
I just am so excited for this filly. It takes a long time to get a really good horse, and we've had a lot of horses, and they're all special, but she loves to run, obviously, so I just hope it continues.
There's a lot of legends, stories, and untruths out there. But for those of us who love the horses, the sport, people, all that goes with it, I'm Joe Pesci. And now you know what goes on behind the gate.
Primarily to get the horse.
And I want people to see how much the people behind the gate care for their horses. I want people to see that. I want people to know that it's a passion for them, and it's not just a 9-to-5 job. It's an all-encompassing job for these people.
Well, I want people to realize that this industry is American. And it's now bigger in other countries than it is here. And we know how it grew here, we knew the importance of it, and how it affected such a large percentage of our population. And I think we need to get back to this.